the function of your knee is going to largely depend on how well your feet and your pelvis communicate with each other. I'm going to give you a little brief lesson on how the knee works, and once you understand that, everything else will make more sense at the end. So you have your knee over here, you have your thigh bone, and then you have your shin bone at the bottom. They come together, they form the knee, they do this. When they come apart and they come together, you flex and extend your knee. Very easy to understand, but once your feet touches the ground and you're walking, going up and down stairs, there's actually a rotational component that happens at the knee as well. And this is where most of us go wrong. Now when we're walking, we need the shin bone and the thigh bone to rotate at relatively the same speed in order for the knee to feel good. Now if one goes faster than the other, now you have a twist in that knee, and that doesn't feel good at all. So what's going to control the thigh bone and what's going to control the shin bone? The thigh bone attaches at the pelvis. So depending on how well the pelvis moves is going to determine how much spin we're going to have over here. The foot attaches to the shin bone. Now depending on how well the foot can go flat and arch is going to determine how much spin we're going to have on the bottom. So the strategy that we're going to use is, can we get the foot and the pelvis to match each other and work at the same time? That way, when you're moving around, the knee is just going to feel safe. You can think about this whole concept like the knee as a child in between two parents. You have your pelvis and then you have your foot. Now if the two parents are getting along, they're on the same page, the child's pretty happy, and just following along with the parents. Now if the two parents are arguing, they're not on the same page, they want to go in separate directions, they're always in arguments with each other, the child's not going to be very happy because they're getting pulled in two different directions. So in our arch workshop, what we're going to be doing is really focusing on the function of the foot. Most people are wearing a lot of protective sneakers, and what happens is that the foot becomes very stiff, and when the foot becomes very stiff, it doesn't move, and what's going to happen is that a stiff foot is going to cause a stiff shin bone. So now when there's not a lot of motion here, but the femur decides to move a lot more, the knee can take the brunt of the force. So we're going to find ways for us to loosen up that foot, train that arch properly to go flat and arch back and forth, have the shin bone move and have the femur bone move at the same time while the pelvis is gliding along.